welcome to my channel A Book Forest. My name is Kim and today I'm going to be talking about my ongoing series. I'm going to talk only about the series I want to prioritize. I'm not going to talk about series that I've started and I'm kind of not sure about, or ones I definitely don't want to continue with, or some series I've started and I will continue with them, but not right away, and it's only gonna be when the mood strikes. So I'm not gonna talk about those. I think it gives you more of an idea of what I like to read if I talk about my priorities. And I usually try to keep my ongoing series to a decent minimum, like around 15 to 20 series at once. Hope I don't like to have that too many ongoing series because I like to read the books in one series at a decent pace. Like, I don't want to wait months and months in between books. Some of them I have done that, but I've just compiled them and I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep going with those. So my priority series that I want to start, I'm gonna start with the ones on the Kindle. I have The Mortal Techniques by Rob J. Hayes, which is an Asian-inspired fantasy series. I've read the first one in the Mortal Techniques. It's called Never Die, and I really enjoyed that a few years ago. And I want to keep going, so I'm probably going to read the second book, Pawn's Gambit, soon, like before the end of the year. And also I have Operation Otherworld by Paul Anderson on the Kindle. I've read the first book, Operation Chaos. It's a series about alternate history, probably in the US, and it has like witches, werewolves, all sorts of magical creatures, but also science and religion, so it's all melted together. So yeah, I want to read the second book. It's a duology, so of course, like, it would be a nice check. It's done if I read it soon. Maybe not before the end of the year though. Then I have The Giant in the Room, the Stormlight Archive that I've been talking about for months. So I finished Rhythm of War last month. So now I'm just waiting for Wind and Truth, basically. I've read all the short stories as well. So this one I'm not gonna keep harping on about because obviously everyone knows what it is. Another series that I've started and I want to keep going with is Les Trois Mousquetaires, The Three Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas. Everyone knows that as well. It's part of my childhood a lot. Like, I feel like I've grown up with this story. It was in cartoons when I was a kid. I've seen it in movies, and I've read the first book, and I really like this book. It's really fun. Like, what's not to like? So I want to keep going. Like, the second book is called 20 Years Later. I read it in French, so I'm not gonna talk about it in French, but I do read in the original version. I prefer it if I can do it. Then I'm gonna read Fire and Blood as well eventually, like probably at the beginning of next year. I've read all the 5 books from A Song of Ice and Fire. I read the last book when it was published, so it was a while ago. I might reread that at some point. I'm not planning that right now. It's a huge commitment, and I enjoyed it. I really liked it. It's a fascinating world. The writing is amazing. The characters are wonderful, but it's a bit bleak for me. I haven't dipped my toe into the grimdark genre yet. I do plan on starting eventually reading Joe Abercrombie, I think. It's a good place to start. But I found Song of Ice and Fire extremely grim and dark, so I was like, is there ever going to be a time when it's going well? So yeah, I do want to read Fire and Blood. It's my kind of thing. I really enjoyed the Silmarillion, so I don't see why I wouldn't like that. And yeah, I've been watching a lot of videos about this world. Like, my favorite YouTuber that talks about this series is Indie Geek. He's really good. Another series I want to keep going with is Foundation by Isaac Asimov. I've read the first trilogy. This is the first book of the second trilogy, so I have no idea what that's about. The first trilogy I really enjoyed. I love classic sci-fi. I found that out like reading a few of the books from classic sci-fi, like 60s, 50s, 70s. I just love it. It's for me. I can't wait to dig that back into that. Yeah, this world is, it's like a pillar of the genre. There's loads of things we wouldn't have if he hadn't written this, so I want to keep going with that. Then a series I started entirely because I watched a movie. It's Howl's Moving Castle. So that's the second book in the series. I've read the first Howl's Moving Castle, and I prefer the movie from Ghibli, but it was good enough. It's cute. I want to keep going, and it's probably not going to take me very long to read that. So eventually I'll pick that up. I think there's 3 books in the series. Another one that I want to prioritize, and I'm actually reading it, like I've just finished another book from that series, is Who Fears Death. I read the last novella published in that world. It's called She Who Knows. So it's about one of the characters in Who Fears Death, and it's like a prequel to that. Basically, it's like set in West Africa. It's a futuristic, post-apocalyptic world in Africa, and there's like tribes that are like, some of them are like they're slaves. Some of them are very I don't know, like violent. It's quite violent world, but it's really beautiful too. Like, so there's another novella set in that world, so I'm in for it. I really enjoyed Who Fears Death, and the prequel is really nice too. So yeah, I really want to keep going with that, probably as a priority. Like, that's on my top priorities. And then last but not least, I'm not talking about series that I'm gonna start soon, because I have planned to start a few series before the end of the year, but those are in another video. I'm just talking about the ones I have actually started. So I also have The Bound and the Broken. I'm reading it right now, the first book. So I have read also the prequel novella, The Fall. So The Bound and the Broken is also on my priorities list. So you'll notice it's a lot of sci-fi and fantasy. But they're the ones who have the most series. I do enjoy classics, but they're not that many that in huge series. So the last one I'm gonna talk about is the Blackthorn and Grimm series by Juliette Marillier. I love Juliette Marillier. I read her entire Seven Waters series. It's 6 books. Love her. So I've read this one, Dreamer's Pool. It's the first one, and the next one is Tower of Thorns. They're short books, easy to read, very mystical, beautiful, set in old Ireland, like medieval Ireland, but with magic, and the Tuatha De Danann. It's just wonderful, beautiful. So yeah, of course I'm gonna read the rest of it. So here it is. Hopefully I haven't forgotten anything, but the other series I have going on, they're gonna be like back burner, so I'm not even gonna talk about them. Let me know if there's series in there that you've read, and if I should prioritize one of them. Honestly, I will want to pick them up quite fast, so hopefully I'll be done with them at the end of next year, or at least some of them. So thank you, and see you next time.